Thank you all for joining us today for another important area where Vicky has been working with this community to take the discussions forward, to do the capacity building, to get you acquainted with the subject, which will be helpful for you for various ways. We have with us Mr. Sushanta Sinha. He is a UA ambassador with the UASG and veteran in this area, who is going to be our keynote speaker, the person who will take us through with the technical, economical benefits of this having universal acceptance. I'm Sarika Guliani. I represent FICCI, Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry. And as FICCI, we run the local secretariat for the LI chapter for UA, which is local initiative of UA in India. And we work with the community and the ambassadors like Mr. Sinha to take this momentum forward in the area of universal acceptance. Now, what is universal acceptance? While I'll give you a small brief about it, our speaker would, of course, take you into the details of the thing, how it needs to be achieved, what can be done, how you need to be aware. How big is this whale? Is it a whale or is it a fish? And how soon you can actually achieve it. So I'll say that universal acceptance is something which gives you a truly digital, multilingual experience and it is something which is highly required for getting a digital equitable access to the internet. When I say so, you will say that translation or those things have been already existing. What are we talking about here new? So what we are talking about here is just having the content in your own language. We know that India is a linguistically diverse country. We have 22 officially recognized languages, and as part of our mandate, we work across all the languages. So while you may have the content in your language, but if the URL and the email address where the basic means of communication happens is not in your respective script or language, it doesn't make sense. I'm talking for the people to whom you are going to be maybe dealing with when you get into the business or when you are as an entrepreneur expanding your business. I'm 101% sure people who have joined in, they will not like their businesses to be limited only to the English speaking people. That is what the even statistics talks about. We as of now stand around, I think, 750 million internet subscribers. But what the next set of the internet subscribers would be the multilingual internet subscribers, the Indic subscribers, who would be like either English speaking, Bengali speaking, Marathi speaking. So they like to come online and they like to access the services. They like to utilize your business, the business opportunity which you give it to them. So this multilingual aspect of universal acceptance, when we talk about, is a key pillar for that multilingual. It gets your the domain names as well email address, which we call it IDN EAI, which Mr. Sinha would of course take you in details. It helps you in getting those the URLs as well email address in your own language, in your own script, and that is validated and accepted across all the software applications. While the benefits are galore, I mean, it has economic benefits. Overall, there's a study which is done by UASG, which is Universal Acceptance Steering Group of ICANN. ICANN, we all know, is body which is responsible for that numbers, which we, the URLs which we get it. So they are there. The study talked about that it is 9.8 billion opportunity. Big numbers we are talking about. And I'm sure as a country like India, we have a lot to contribute in 9.8 billion, because that's a number which we are which as businesses we like to explore, we like to go forward. So while I say so about India, it's the 22 official languages, the IDNs and EI across globally, you can work on it. So it's across which you can actually benefit it. It will help you the economic benefits, which I just mentioned. It will help you increase your business, your reach. It increases the customer experience. That is very important. How the customer is actually interacting on the internet. If you have something in the language which is the person is not able to relate to the heart, I'm sure that is not going to actually give you a long-standing result. So this is what the universal acceptance is. Today, we will have a discussion on some technical challenges or the solutions which are available to overcome those challenges. How big are those challenges, the economic benefits of it, and how it actually further enhances the user experience on the internet. With this, I stop here. My colleagues are here. If you have any questions, please put up in the chat. We will take it up with Mr. Sinha after the discussion is over, after the webinar is, after his speech, and then we can, of course, take those questions as well. And also you can reach out to us in case you want to join our community. So to contribute, so my team members can help you out and we can actually work with you further, because we need more and more people to join this whole initiative of universal acceptance, which we all of us are leading together. With these words, I stop here and I welcome Mr. Sinha for joining us today. And thank you, delegates, for joining in. Over to you, Mr. Sinha.
Yeah, good morning, and thank you, Sarika ji, for introducing and put the topic in context. And thanks, Vicky, for giving me the opportunity to interact. And I always personally believe that every interaction for me is a learning opportunity. So every time I interact, I bounce back on ideas. It also gives me some opportunity to learn also for myself. So I will use some of this, the guiding presentations. But as you set the context that we are in a situations which I remember in some of our global community maintain this, they refer this as a Y2K type of problem. Some of our generations probably know that when we moved from 1999 to 2000, it created a huge impact on how we used to set dates and store and display and all those things. And there are a lot of applications which are mission critical, had to handle it beforehand. And it is a huge global kind of impact it had, and we experienced through this. So its UA also is kind of exposed us to that level of I would say challenges and opportunities. Sudhir, if you can just start sharing this presentation, then I can follow that. Or you want me to share that myself?
Sir, you have the rights. You can share from your end, sir.
Oh, okay, fair. Let me know if you all can see my screen.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
It's visible. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so see, before we talk about this, see, we already discussed. We actually have two areas of our discussions. One is related to domain name, and another is related to our email address, right? Now, before we go to this domain name, I think for the benefit of this wide audience, what exactly is a domain name, and why or where is the challenge that we face? So, domain name is basically a human-friendly identifier. We all have mobile phones in our hand, and we call people, right? But how many of us remember the phone number? We hardly remember the phone number of Sarkaji or Sudhi or any one of us, right? Instead, what we do is we just search the name, call the name, right? And it automatically converts to that mobile number that we like to connect. So similarly, when we go and visit any site using an URL, so we do not know this the IP address, right? We only know the name, and there is some system in the background which converts that. So basically, the domain name is the name that we refer to, and it automatically connects to the system. Now, if you see this URL structure, right, that we use, it has HTTPS slash slash, and then you have something dot something dot something dot this, and at the end, towards the end, basically there is an invisible dot, and we refer that as the root. Okay, so under that root, you have the top level domain, then you have a second level domain, then you have a third level domain, and like this. And the top root, where the root servers are maintained globally by 13 players, okay, all over, basically 12 players for the 13 root servers. Now, this is where all this, I would say, search informations and how do you reach out to this servers and how their structures are, they've been fabricated, and it's a huge global kind of a system, and this is going to be impacted, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so when you go and search for a domain, it actually starts. This is how your user actually go to the recursive server, then it goes to the root server to find out. Okay, now these are the set of areas where you can go and search for .com. Then it goes to the authoritative server and gives back that to the users. I'm not going into the details of it works, but the essential part is entire world when we reach out to servers. this translation has to happen, right, for the users, because I cannot remember where the server is, what is their IP, correct? And the backbone of this internet, internet backbone helps us doing this. And there are a lot of standards worldwide, and we have to follow the standards, and we do. Now, the introductions of this UA or this introductions to international domain names actually jeopardized or basically put challenges to how your new set of domain names can be searched, can be fetched, can be stored, and all those things. Okay, so that's why I thought I'd just give a brief idea that why this this how the infrastructure is and how it works. Okay. See, these are all open informations. You can get it through this through the net. There's nothing hidden or nothing personalized things. Everybody who are interested, you can go and find out what are the root servers, how their traffics are, and every details are open on internet. Now, how things has evolved over the years. We remember in our old days, we have our generic, this top level domains. When you're talking about these domains, let us start with the top level domains. Secondary domains are still within some of the control. This top level domains we had similar to this .com, .org, .net, .edu, something like this, about close to 22. And we used to have our sites or the URLs or the domains um, around that, around those top level domains only. Okay, and on top of that, there are some of the country code domains, like we had .uk, we had .cn, for China, for Japan, for India, it is .in, and that's how you can limit that. Okay, these top level domains are meant for a country, okay, and the country code. Now, this is how our world was till early 2000, and our internet domains, internet URLs, internet search was all around that only. But this entire shift came when ICANN, as an authority who has opened it up and say, hey, we expand this, right? Instead of this 3 letters top level domain, we have a generic, though it is a still an ASCII, top level domain, which is not limited to this dot, the CC, 2 character or 3 characters things. So they opened it up. You can have .consultant, you can have .tech, you have .london, so many things, though they are still ASCII. Okay, but the problem is, I refer that like in Y2K problem, right? Where we used to think that our YY, the year was just 1 to 99. Okay, and the world was happy using it in 1999. But when it changes from 1999 to 2000, it suddenly becomes 00, and you never know whether it is 1900 and 2000, and every application worldwide got, can be, totally jeopardized. So people have taken steps at least 4-5 years back, before they reach 2000, and start making those changes. Right. Similarly, here, how our top level domains were stored or used, or maybe the provisions kept for handling this, was only limited to this limited characters. Actually, face this challenge that, okay, now how I handle if it is more than that, right? And many of our applications might fail. However, it is still a smaller problem compared to it is now open up beyond ASCII. Now that is a huge thing. No, we have .bharat in 22, 24 languages, and we have left to right, right to left, all those things when it came up. Then now think of those searches, think of those storing everything in the entire ecosystem that has got that face this challenges. And even today, we are still with this challenge. And the reason why at our different community level we are reaching out to people is to create awareness and be aware and then take actions, so that we can overcome this situation. Okay, so currently we have this dot country code also has expanded our beyond this generic domain. It's also become a international domain names. So these are the level of or the complexity that we have introduced beyond this 2016 onwards. Okay? So this is the challenge you're talking about. Now, again, the challenge has the other side of the coin, which is also an opportunity, right? Every challenge comes on a new opportunity to overcome this. A lot of business opportunities, a lot of it opens up different domains altogether. Okay, so this is where we stand today. Giving some of these examples, what I said, that you earlier had. Uh, these are some of the non-ASCII characters that was introduced, and it was currently have, we call it as Unicode at the Q label and the Unicode A label domain names. Okay, I'm not going into the details, technical things in this sessions to that extent, but this is where it actually comes into that when you have this Unicoded uh, domain, it starts with extend dash dash, and it has a longer length of this characters. Okay, and that comes into this to translate this. Okay, so these are some of the examples where you have .sky, you have this, we have different other languages. I myself have a site called Chandra Bharat. Currently, it has some space constraints, it is not going there. So Chandra.com is also there. I can show that. Okay, and these are these examples of this Q label and A label. Some of the IDNs where the A labels have this accent dash dash number when it comes to searching and comparing and everything. However, it displays this way. So this is the broad, I would say the problem definitions that I can tell you, that we all who are in the business, who are in the technical community, and that we have to standardize our browsers, standardize our applications, everything, so that we can handle these situations. Okay, when I'm comparing our top level domains, how do I compare if it is non-ASCII? Okay, uh, how do I convert it from my U level to A level and then compare? So where do I go and find it, and what are the libraries that work? So all this complexity arises, and people are actually on their toes to address those. There are a lot of groups, a lot of communities are working today to address. They have overcome few of them, many of them I would say, but still there are a long way to go. Okay. So for our technical communities, this is a huge opportunity. I'll give you some examples and you can relate to, but this is where we stand precisely. Okay. Let us just stop here. Is there any questions related to this, to what we covered today, or let us take it forward and then wait for that? Is there anything related to these, Sarika ji, that people have questions, or?
Sir, you can continue. We can ask the question in the end, sir.
Okay, never mind. Okay.
Okay.
So now when it comes to this email address, so I talked about this URL or the site that we visit, when you type that in on your browser. Also, we have email address, right? An email address has basically the structure. You have an email box at the rate, then that domain name, right? So when you're talking about internationalized email address, um, then you have a scope to have this as beyond ASCII, Unicoded, or the domain names also Unicode. So these are some of the examples, right? Where you can have your beyond at the rate part, the domain part, internationalized, or your mailbox also can be. Okay, so I have some examples. I myself have an email which is my Sushanto, Ami Sushanto, which is in Bengali, and which is an Unicoded mailbox. So when my system supports, and why they are supporting, because it is an outside-in approach that my user may not be conversant to this foreign languages, right? I only speak in Tamil, Oriya, Bengali, or maybe in Chinese. I do not know how I construct things in English. Um, okay, so I need to use my own I would say own language. So that's why I have the provision. Once I do this, this is the kind of problem I might face, and how the community as a whole is handling. Now I always say that, okay, it cannot be done overnight, right? Everybody goes through some kind of a cycle. I call it a 3A, and it's a very pet slide for me. That, first level, bottom level is, are we aware, right? Are we aware that smoking is injurious to health? No, I was not aware, or now I am aware, right? Because I see a lot of advertisements, something written on this that, okay, smoking is injurious to health. So, are we aware that, okay, these are the, so it is already 24 languages, all the languages which has been done. Probably this is, the numbers are wrong. But nevertheless, are we aware that this is coming up, this has already been changed, and all those things? So, we first have to go and reach out to the community and say, okay, are you aware? Now, once you are aware, um, do you accept that smoking is injurious to health? Maybe or maybe not. I have seen probably my grandfather living at 80 plus, and he smoked, and he used to smoke even today. So yes, I may or may not, but yes, I have also seen a lot of young people or middle-aged people. They actually have invited problems for them because they are smokers, and it is causing health problems and others. So probably at some point in time, I accept that, okay, yes, yes, smoking is injurious to health. So I am aware that UA is a challenge and opportunity, and this is what we have to do. And I accept, yes, it's an opportunity or it's a problem. And then what we do, we adopt some practices, right? I stop smoking. I keep away from the smokers. I don't inhale things. I make clean my society, surroundings that smoking are not allowed. Some kind of practices that we adopt. So similarly here, I am aware that, okay, UA is important, and UA is an opportunity as well as a challenge. I accept it, and then I adopt some practices. So this is the cycle that we all go through, and and we are into that journey. So what happens when we say we are ready and we are not ready? Maybe you probably cannot go to this the site because it is more than this three-letter top level domain. So maybe it is an Unicode. Okay. Maybe it has an email ID which my application do not accept. If my application is ready, then I can reach out to a site which is general TLD, but it is more than the three letters top level domains. It is a Unicoded domain, or I can accept and validate it's a valid email if it is uh, beyond this ASCII, which is a Unicoded one. So this is what is basically, as I said, the problem statement as a whole. Okay, so is my site accepting this? So what are the stages that we normally follow, right? So these are the 5 pillars. To be very honest, these are the 5 pillars that is my application, is my system accepting this Unicoded international domain names and email address. Okay, can I validate? When I'm validating an email, right? Validating something like, you remember sometimes earlier, some years back, in our young age, we used to get a spam. Even today also we have the spam mail, right? But that is for a different reason. But earlier we have some non-ASCII characters mails, and this they used to put it as a spam, right? So validating that this is a valid email. Okay, is my system intelligent enough to understand that it is not a spam, it is an Unicoded valid email. Okay, can I validate? Can I process it? That when I'm searching things and when I'm comparing things, can I compare? Can I search? Okay, can I process those information that I have accepted and validated within my system? Can I store it? As I said, we have a limited. Those who are aware of how a database fields and database works. That we have some limitations of how many characters that we can be, and we normally have restrictions to that. Now, it we have a different technology come up, and we can store large things. In a non-SQL kind of a things has come up, and everything has come up now. But can we store those? Can we store those? Hexa longer, X and dash numbers as the top level domains. And also, vice versa, yes, I do not really remember my site is X and dash something, right? It's a cryptic number, but I know that it is Sushant Ranwar, right? So when I display things, when it comes to my visibility, it should display in my local language. So can I display it back? when I display to the language or the characters that it is meant for. So if these 5 pillars work for my applications, then I can see very. Now this is, as I said, these are two sides of this coin. I face a challenge today, I see an opportunity to overcome, right? So as a business, as an individual, I can put my effort, I can put my money there and said, okay, this is where the problem is, and I'm the person who can give you the solution. So this is my tools, techniques, which can be used so that you can overcome the situation. Okay, so it is both sides of the coin, a challenge as well as an opportunity for us. Now, I agree with the level of complexity. It is not simple as I say, right? So, when it comes to this displaying or considering kind of code points, you may write in different ways, right? And you have to normalize. If I say in my language or maybe in Hindi, you can write the same thing in 2 different ways, right? I've given examples, I think in the later side. So, but you have to understand that, okay, I can write epsilon like this, and I can also have this as a space, but system has to understand I mean the same thing, right? So there are different techniques of normalize these things. We use different forms, and quite widely used this normalized form C that we use, to generate those. Okay, so that in whichever way you write, I will consider this as the unique one. Okay, as a unique representation of this. So those standards are, most of them are there, and people are still working on wherever the confusion comes. But these are the complexities. Okay, these are the complexities we should be aware of. That it is not as simple as we say that yes, I use this code, but does the system recognize that? Does the system understand that? Okay, what you write in 2 different ways actually mean the same thing, right? So the background work to create the standards is still on, and we have overcome many of this, and still, as I said, it's a long way to go. So we have these 2 versions which we normally use for handling these protocols, which was this IDNs for these applications called IDNA. So earlier we used to use IDNA 2003. Now the later this IDNA 2008 are being used. Okay, and for this A-level unicoded or this U-level, U-level unicoded or A-level unicoded samples. Okay. So why I'm saying this is, as you get into this problem area, as you get into the situations, these are the things which will pop up. These are the things already somebody has already solved. Maybe you can reuse it. Something is unique for me, and we have to address this. Okay. So that is why, as I said, be aware of that, accept that this is a problem and opportunity, and take necessary, adopt that and do the necessary action for this. Now, I'll give an examples, right? So when you create the standards, right? See, in Bengalis and Assamese, there are these letters. Like when we see raw, so we write in Devanagari scripts we write this. In Assamese, the version they write this, but they mean the same thing, right? So when I book a domain, which is Raja as I spell, right? Now, should I write this way? Should I write this way? Should I consider this as 2 different things, or should I consider this if someone books this one, I will reserve this and I will not allow other people to use this. Okay, so every this language areas, there are core groups who deliberate, discuss, and come to some kind of conclusions. And some of the areas are still inconclusive. Assamese and probably people may not be happy that okay, you use this one, why not the other one, right? Our people use this type of characters, this type of letters, and this, and why you are not considering these as the standard. So still there are some open areas, but people are into this, and there are a lot of community involvement also there. That I might be a coder or an engineer or a IT guy, but I may not have good hold of how what the society is actually looking for, like what is convenient for them. So society, that participation is there, public participation is there, and all of you, I think, it is very important that you be aware and participate, share your views, so that when the standards is created, it actually your voice is also heard, right? And it is not missed out. So this is another angle of how this has created a lot of impact on the society. These are some of the codelets I'm just giving as an example. As I said, I'm not detailing out. So if you're writing the code today in Python, when you read this UTF standard file and UTF write this, where those those libraries has to be included. If you write those things in Java, then what are the things that you have to include in your libraries, in your code base, so that we have it is available and people are working on it. It's also on open internet. I think VSG site also had some of these examples there. So if you are interested and if you are a developer, try to explore that, use it. All the supports are also there from the group. This is just an example I'm giving you. So for any kind of a reference help, you can reach out to the right community. Now, when it comes to your email address, right? We talked about this domain, right? When you go to top level domains, how we search, how we display, how we store, how we accept. Um, just giving you a brief of what is this mail ecosystem, right? When you are sending a mail, you have a user agent, mail user agent that you use. Whether it's a Outlook or it's a Lotus Notes or whatever, right? You have a user interface area which is called as MUA, mail user agent, who drafts this, who have an inbox, and how you draft it and write the content. Then you submit to your mail submission agent. And once you submit in multi-hop, it goes to the transmission agent takes it to the receiver, okay, who it is intended for. And on their side, the delivery agent converts that, takes it from the agent of transmission agent. It delivers that to the intended users, okay, recipient, and that user also use some of this user agent to read back that information that was sent by the sender. So this is the mail ecosystem. Now in this entire ecosystem, whatever multi-hop this SMTP that you are using, that has to be enabled. If somewhere in this it fails, then it will come back. It will not be delivered. It will not be considered as a valid email or a valid content, valid header. Okay, so when you go and try to fix your email system, which is now UA compliant, now we can accept this. You have to understand this is the ecosystem that we are talking about, and in every unit, you have to ensure that this the UA is considered. Okay? It accepts the right libraries. You use the right IDNA, right kind of a UTF structure, and so that it recognizes the new changes, the new Unicode coded mailbox number and the and the domain names. Okay. So this is another aspect of again, if you come up with a new mail platforms, right, as a business opportunity, you said, okay, my platform actually handles this. So it's a huge opportunity. People will go and use it in your own language, And I think I'll give you an example, right? I have that from Data Mail, right? And gmail.com has already taken care of this. If I send it to my Gmail address, this datamail.bharat, it can accept, it can send this, and I can see that, okay, this mail comes and I can read the content in my local language. It is written in Bengali for those who do not read it. This is written in Bengali. This is a Bengali email that I have in datamail.bharat, and I can send and exchange mails in Gmail. But in my Yahoo Mail, I cannot. It says it's a wrong email ID. Okay, so for Yahoo, it is not standardized. Okay, and I think there is a talk going on with this Yahoo by the ICANN community or the UASG communities and others. I think there are some vibes coming. Okay, my primary user base is in English speaking, so this is not a priority item for me. We'll do it later. We'll see it later. So probably some of the business drivers that also takes a different priority level, that whether it is important for you to address it now or I do it later. Okay. Say for my organization, they said, okay, I know it is an important thing, but I will do it later because I have other things to fix before that. So it depends on the priorities, but nevertheless, when situation comes when you have no other way to do it, then you will be in deep trouble. So take necessary measures. Apple has done some of the changes. Gmail, as I said, is the first thing to go. Outlook also has done, but I think there is some kind of a they consider that this is an Unicoded things, but sometimes you cannot always translate it, because I have tested in some of my organizations Outlook things which is not accepting properly. Okay. So this is some of the examples that I can give. Another very common thing, this is very common. Many of us we do um, booking through our IRCTC site. Right? There are many other sites also widely used. And when you have a contact email ID, and I give my datamail.bharat email address, which is in local language, it says it's an email is invalid. That means it cannot accept, it cannot validate. Okay, and it's a widely used site, right? So this is time that people understand that this is the need of the people. This is the next billion users who will be coming to internet, who talks on their local language, and we should equip them with all the provisions, where they can type their own email IDs in their own language. So these are some of the, I would say, challenges as well as opportunities that is there. This is just an example, but there are many like this. Okay, and people, as I said, like it is like a Y2K problem, that it's a huge shift that is necessary. People are still not waking up, and it's for us to ensure that they are aware and they awake and they take necessary action. These are some of the steps. We have some communities, actually who have done a very good job in tasting it, right? As I said, the first thing of awareness is, hey, do you know that ASCTC, your site is not accepting this? I was not aware. So somebody has to do some testing and this thing. So there are different test steps that people take. That you first take those IDs, go there, use this non-ASCII A-level domain, non-ASCII U-level domain, send this and see that how the responses are. Then you store it and then inform them. So some of this tasting groups, was the first thing any one of you can also start doing that. Okay, let me go spend some time in tasting that which are the sites still not accepting. And I remember, when we had interactions with Dr. Data, our UASC chairman, he mentioned, Susanto, I almost, every day or at least once or twice in a week, I send it mails to some of the sites that I am aware of, and I just see whether they were EPA compliant or not, and just send them some kind of a note that this is not there. And so it's a kind of a disciplined approach. It's a very all we as a community, who wants to improve a community can take this kind of steps and say, okay, let me go and test and see and make you aware about this. I'll tell you another area which is also is very concerning. Okay, because these unicoded things are coming, right, and in the local language, I may not be aware that this is right or wrong. Okay, so there are people also who wants to misuse this, right? There are cyber threats. There are people who want to make fraudulent approach and can make you fool, some kind of a phishing things. So we have examples of like these two sites, maybe Citibank sites we have come across where in the Cyrillic, this A is written differently. Okay, and but it looks like a Citibank and this. Now earlier the fraudulent was like still is an ASCII, but that they just tweak some of this thing, and people consider that as the right one. Okay, but it is all limited. It's all limited to this ASCII character. But now it is very difficult to even ensure that okay, which one is right? Because they look same and they are actually appear right in front of a normal person. So this is another area where I think people are also concerned that because of this unicoded opening up this Unicode things, we have also we are open to threats. Okay? People might misuse you, misguide you, and guide you to a wrong site because you are not aware. Okay? So that is also another challenge area, I would say, that we should consider. There is another parallel things going on, which is again when you say UA, it's a universal acceptance of internet. It's internet for all. So when you say internet for all, there are different dimensions. Okay, we only have talked about this IDN, international domain names and email address. But if you say internet for all, there are other dimensions. I'll give an examples like Bhasini project was taken by Government of India some time back, where the speech translations. Right? So now they're using AI also. That I speak in Bengali, you don't understand Bengali. Real time, it will convert it into Hindi. You will listen it to Hindi as a translated one, and you reply in Hindi, and in the process, it will automatically translate it to Bengali and Kannada. So it's a real time translation of the on both sides, and they're actually building their database. They are actually collecting public participations on how the scripts are written, how they're spoken, how they can be converted to other languages, and all those, so that their database can be generated. Now, their generative AI also help them to generate this beyond this learning database as well. But the thing is, it is not related to the domain name change and email address thing, but because I know that ISCTC doesn't support my email address, or this site does not support my language. So if something can be done so that people understand. So all we need at the end of the day is what you're communicating, I should understand this and can validate. Right? So if that can be done through language conversions, good enough, I can do that. So people will find different ways and means to overcome these challenges so that many people come forward and participate in the all the programs that the governments are doing or the community is doing and society is doing. Okay, there is a whole intent. See, I have also seen some works going on so um, those who cannot hear, right? So you have a sign language, right? You must have seen some of the newses also have a sign language. They use a sign language to make people communicate. Even I think some of the I have seen in IPL also. I think the translation has been done. So in the sign language also there are some conversions in one of my colleagues groups and others. And they're working on how the sign language also can be converted into this. I can use my sign language and the camera can understand what I'm saying and translate that. So I'm talking about when you talk about this, it has a huge dimension. Though we are only in the pockets of using this unicoded, unicoded, internationalized, ASCII, non-ASCII character sets, standards, and others. There is also a huge domain outside that also, which actually is working for same motto, internet for all. How we can make internet for all. So these are different versions, different ways to support the single cause that we want to make internet for all. Right? People should not be barred because they have language limitations, they have visibility limitations, they have their literacy has limitations. No, it should be used by all. So that is a whole intent, and we are working on a very core area, which is very much technically oriented, which has probably can help people go to the next stages. But there's also different other dimensions. I think that's precisely what I just intend to cover. You can always go to this UASC site where everything is there. I mean, it is actually the site when I landed up, it actually put me, brought me here. And thanks to this community leaders, who motivated me, mentored me so that I'm still, gracefully continuing my activities around this. Thanks to many people, and I don't know to name one or two, many people in this community who has really helped us. So go there, explore, and I'm sure once you go and try to explore, you will love it and you will get involved. Okay. So that's all for me, and this is my looking forward that okay, why not me? I mean, it's everyone, right? The internet for all. Now, today when we are thinking about the human community, but tomorrow you never know, right? It will be for all. So it's basically it's a universal acceptance, a real world benefits that is on our way. So thank you so much. Open for questions and anything that I can help from my side.
Thank you, Mr. Sinha, for taking us through this presentation. As it was equally important to go to the technical aspects, you did mention about the 5 processes, the stages, how we need to contribute in the standards, the challenges which related to cybersecurity, which may come in and people needs to be alert about it, and how, of course, the overall benefits of universal acceptance can happen, and how people can contribute in this area. We have few questions, so I'll just take one or two questions, because then others we can get back to Mr. Sinha and he can let us know in later, because of course I think he's hard pressed with time. He has a hard stop at 11:55, I guess, 11:55.
At 12, I have another call. Yeah.
So, okay. So, Mr. Sinha, one of the questions which has come from the community, from people who are attending is, I'm just reading it up. How user interface have impact on new product launch?
How user interface impacted new product. So when you talk about this product, obviously, I think people might have changed this, right? We used to, this how you pay UPA and other payment things are done, right? Now, earlier it was just within the machine, right? Now you have seen that they have a voice also which can loudly say, okay, so much so has been paid, right? I have seen that, okay, 255 rupees has been paid to this, right? Now I have seen it is also translated in the local language as well. I mean, when you are actually dealing with the users, any product, okay, which supports the convenience of the users, the product features changes, right? And that is where I think you see the opportunity as an entrepreneur. That okay, when I pay this, probably I can pay. I was supposed to pay 250. I just pay 240. So you never know. You can realize maybe later. But as a busy shopkeeper, if it is voice, right? If it is announced that 250 rupees has been paid, so it catches my attention. I said, okay, you're supposed to pay 250 and you're paid. I don't have to go and check my reports at the end of the day, right? And then also I may not understand English, so now you use that in the local language. So why I'm saying this is how the product features changes as the convenient of the people, right? So you observe, you take a note, and ensure that okay. So you see the keyboards. When we are having the keyboards, it was in Thailand and other countries. I've seen that okay, they have a mandate that you have to have a local language on this keyboard so that people can type. You still have not a standard, but when you buy a keyboard, it's all English, right? And if I used to use my Bengali or Hindi, these things, maybe some of the product companies they have that, but not many. So if tomorrow I get a keyboard where we have a Bengali equivalent and I can type in this, I will definitely go for that, right? For communications and everything that I use. So the question is a very right question that the product features has to incorporate this. They have to look for these opportunities where these are coming up and people are taking up. And this is how things change. And if I see that tomorrow you are having this, I also can have that, right? So it's like a competitive world, right?
True. I like to add on to it, like we have a competitive digital world now. Message flows on very fast. So it's very important and this is available. And like you said, for the benefit of the person who has asked that question, we'll also like to add, it amplifies your message. It makes it get to the person to whom you may or not be targeting. For example, an extra X gets added to the chunk you are looking at it. And when that extra chunk's added, it has an amplification effect on you in every way, whether it's communication, marketing, or overall revenue generation. Mr. Sinha has already given an example that if the payment has been made 250, so that becomes an easier way. So I think that the universal acceptance plays a very important role when you talk about the economic benefits and the user benefits and the user experience benefits, which you get it while having your own whole website you enabled, which is like the medium of communication and the IDN being you enabled.
Exactly.
Okay, see another question which I think it's coming from the startups. They are saying that since we as startups work with a low bandwidth and a small team, how much do you think this can really help us, or how we can contribute in this? Is there a way it can be easily done, and also they have to work across all the languages, or it is only one of the languages in which they have to make it you enable? So I think the basic question is, it has to be 1 versus 22.
Yes. See, I'll give you. In fact, because of the paucity of time, there is a dispute. Sarika, you know that in ICANN meeting global our eBay day, I have also raised that we have .bangla as a CCTLD and this. Now, when I spoken to this ICANN people, see .bangla as a top level domain, right? Or maybe .bharat in multiple language domains, right? Now, if you why it has been done, it is also a business reasons that if you have many sites which has a .bangla as this, okay, so you can actually reach out to the local community. So you generate your reach. You enhance your reach to these common people if it bounce back in the same language, right? So if you have your see, it is not the content. You still have a site you can type in English and you can still have a Bengali content, right? Anandabhaja.com, and you see the content in Bengali. But it is not only that. It's not only the content, but how I reach out to you when you do not have to even type in English, right? Or you can either speak it out, or maybe you can this without English. I do not know English, but I can generate. So there are next dimensions that the ICANN is also coming up is opening up even more sites like this. You can have say Delhi as a top level domain, right? You buy that and you have everything related to Delhi tourism and everything. So people will love to go to that, and if you can have that kind of an ambition that I may be a small startup today, but I have taken up some of the core need of a person in the society, which can be shared, which can be realized by others as well, right? Tomorrow, so if you can take up those kind of small things and can multiply it through the need of the others, I think I think I mean there are ample scope are there. There are ample scopes are there.
Yeah. So I think the questions will keep on flowing, Mr. Sinha, and it's already 11:58. So I'm really mindful of the time. So, but for the benefit of the members, we keep on organizing these sessions with the help of our UA ambassadors. And if you have any specific questions only for Mr. Sinha, we are most welcome to write to us. Otherwise, we invite you for our next session, which will be planned for next week. Definitely, we do a series which keeps on happening. And the journey, it just starts. It just in a way what Mr. Sinha has just explained it to you, and very beautifully he has done that by taking it through the importance and then the technical things which we need to take care, and how then it needs to be implemented, and what are the challenges we need to overcome. So with this, I would say that I'd like to wrap up today's session, while the journey will continue, and we look forward to your continued support as in terms of your participation, and then also not only just participation, adoption, and maybe spreading the word to others. That's something which would be very much required, because it's not a one person's job. It's something the whole the academia, the industry, the government, everybody has to come in. And I would, with this, I'd also like to mention, even the government of India is looking into it. They've come out with the first phase of multilingual internet policy, and the policy has a huge focus on universal acceptance. So that's something, a mandate which comes from the government. So what we are talking about today is something when the internet was 2 decades before, when we said, okay, there is something coming over, but today we know we can't live without it. Similarly, this is something which is going, after a few years, going to play such an important role that you will have no choice but to adopt. So it's good that we become the early adopters. And as a country with a population of 1.4 billion, we have a lot to contribute, both in terms of the economic opportunities available, as well in terms of I would say, the policy making and the standards making, which Mr. Sinha talked about it. So with this, I wrap up the session. I did thank Mr. Sinha for taking out the time and, of course, sharing his presentation with us, taking us through the various aspects to it. Mr. Sinha, thank you for your time, and we look forward to your continued support and participation and collaboration for the activities. We also look forward to have you with us for the other sessions, which we plan to do it during the year. Thank you, audience, for being supportive, for, of course, participative, for coming up the questions. We also love when we get the good questions, which means then that the good interest has been generated from the members. So we look forward to this continuous support, and thank you for your time. With this, I wrap up the session. Thank you, and Jai Hind.